Hey folks, Polaris here. Just recently, one of my favorite YouTubers and one of the people that really inspired me into getting to making videos, especially for the love of portable systems and everything, Elliot from the Retro Future. I'll put a link in the description below for his channel. Definitely check him out if you guys are avid fans of portable systems. Please, he has a lot of great stuff. But recently he did a video on the Japanese 3DS Pokemon Green version, which is really, really pretty looking. And one of the things I noticed in there was that I'm not sure entirely, but the copy of Green wasn't there, maybe because the console was reset and everything. And I do remember from back in the day when I used to work at the game stores, that one of the things that came out when the new 3DS, or the 3DS XL came out, was that Nintendo provided a new update with a feature called the 3DS Transfer Tool, which allowed you to transfer your data from one 3DS to the other if you were upgrading the system to the XL or to one of the newer systems later on. As the years went by, I was upgrading my 3DS over to the XL, and then another special edition Zelda version came out with the new 3DS XL, and then another one came out pretty much like 6 months later, and I chumped out and I bought that one as well, and then the new 2DS XL, which is one of my favorites on here. And then I did find a Pokemon 20th anniversary new 3DS XL as well. But I picked this one up not too long ago, and this is a 2DS, the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time version that came out, and it has Ocarina of Time pre-installed in there, and we're going to go ahead and boot it up. And I wanted to make this video just in case, because I know the 3DS right now and the 2DS are really popular consoles, and a lot of people are picking them up for the games that they have and everything. And one of the things with these consoles that's really nice is that if the game came with a pre-installed game already on there, if the console did come with a pre-installed game such as this one, like The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and there were other consoles that came out with there, such as Elliot's Pokemon Green version with the Pokemon Green Translucent 3DS, the 3 equivalent colors that came out as well, this guy behind that came with Pokemon Red and Blue installed, and a slew of others. There were 2 different versions that Nintendo made. At around the time that the new 3DS started coming out, and the new 3DS XL, Nintendo originally had codes inside of the box for you to download the game. So for an example, with this one, it did also come with Ocarina of Time 3D. However, the code, it was a code inside of the box that you had to register and put in there. Over time, they continued doing that with Pokemon X and Y and everything. And over time, parents, I guess there was a lot of complaint from parents and everything, because not only did they get these things for their kids for Christmas, right out of the box, they couldn't just immediately start playing the game. They had the game, and they were wondering where the game was. They didn't know about a code or anything like that. The box just kind of, very small print tells you that there is a code inside of the box. But the box itself does tell you, it's like, hey, game inside, you know, free game already included with it. Nintendo changed their mind on how to do that, and instead they started opting for having the game pre-installed with it. And it really started with the 2DS here in North America, where Pokemon X and Y were already pre-installed in the Red and Blue 2DS that came out with it, and then shortly afterwards with Mario Kart and some other games like Super Mario Maker and anything, and including Legend of Zelda version right here, the Ocarina of Time. So I picked this one up pre-owned, and as you can see, it's kind of got some scuff on it. It has been played with, it has been loved. So I might change out the screen here in the future, because this screen is kind of a little scratched, but the screen in the back, I've already taken it apart. It is still perfect. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to go into the system settings. And as you can see right here, there is nothing inserted into the game card. And this is the game itself. I'm just going to boot that up really quick and just play the title screen and then just jump right out of it. So as you can see, it loads the game. So this is the one that comes pre-installed in the console itself. So I'm just going to go right into the system settings. And what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to reset the console from factory settings. So one of the things I learned when I was working at a game store, and going back to that 3DS swap feature, is that while working at the game store, we did have a rule. We're going to go ahead, and I think it's just zeros. There we go. One of the things that I learned from the game store itself was that one of the rules that we had was we needed to format the 3DS And in pretty much every console, we needed to format all of our consoles before we can send them back, either resell them itself at the store or send them back to the warehouse so that way they can refurbish them or anything else as well. One of the things that I learned specifically with the 3DS and the Vita was that you were not, you had to actually take out the memory card on there after you format the system. Or you can actually take out the memory card, give it back to the customer, and then format the system. We did not take in the memory card as a complete trade to the system. So that was a big rule, was that you had to take out we could not take in a 3DS. You had to remove the memory card before that. But with that as well, what I did learn after a couple of things that happened in the store before Nintendo knew or GameStop knew really about how the 3DS system transfer worked, was that if the console itself has not been transferred to another device, say for an example, if I did not transfer this to this right here, and the system has been reformatted, you are actually allowed to re-download the game that the console originally came with. And that is because the game itself is hardwired to the console, not the account as of yet. So, but once a system transfer happens, you will have to, you will only get that the game that was originally on this console on the newer version. So, for anybody that is looking to grab a 2DS pre-owned, a special edition 2DS pre-owned that came with a game, or a new 2DS XL, or a new 3DS XL, or whichever version of the 3DS or 2DS that you guys plan on picking up that had a version previously downloaded on it, if it came with a game, let's get that closer here so you can see, and the console itself was not system transferred, you will most likely be able to actually grab the, let's go back to the eShop and actually go ahead and connect it to the internet and re-download the game that originally came with it. So what I'm probably going to do over here, we're going to go ahead and set up, is I'm just going to connect it new here. So we're going to manual setup. This is kind of weird doing it through the viewfinder. All right, I'm just going to kind of sway it to the side over here so I can grab this and grab the password for this. All right. And I discovered this, funny enough, was because of an issue I actually had at a store one time. Long story short, the person was trying to grab their information from their 3DS to the 3DS XL when it came out. And this was brand new to both Nintendo and game stores about how to do the trade itself. And our store specifically did not have Wi-Fi. So the person came in a little bit earlier before and started asking about what needs to be done in terms of how you would trade a system in before the actual 3DS XL came out. And she went ahead and formatted the system actually before she brought it in. So the issue was that she formatted it she formatted it before we were able to actually do the system transfer. So she had worried that all of her information was lost. Okay, that's on there. And she wanted to transfer over, once she finally grabs her new 3DS XL, she wanted to transfer her stuff over. And she wasn't able to do that because the system was already formatted. So because the SD card was not recognized on there, she had taken out the SD card and then formatted the system, and then put her new SD card in the new 3DS XL. But when you put in an SD card that the 3DS does not recognize inside of the actual system, it actually just auto formats it. So everything that you had in there, so if you had games like Super Mario Maker or anything like that, any applications, any photos, any videos, it's not going to just transfer over as simply as just swapping it out, just an SD card for an SD card. Nintendo the system just doesn't automatically recognize it. and just formats it. So she was having an issue on there, and then we found out through a Nintendo representative after calling them that yes, as long as the system transfer never happened initially, the games and everything is still on the account, hardwired into the actual hardware of the system. So it was really nice that we were able to download everything as well back on her old 3DS and then transfer it to her 3DS XL. So we're back on the menu on here. It's creating a home menu. So we can see now that there is no game slot inserted. I'll actually go up here and see that there are no icons for Ocarina of Time 3D. We're going to go right into the eShop. I might have my wife do a little custom etching emblem over here of the Triforce or anything, as well as I'm not sure if I can actually refurbish or replace this shell itself, but what we'll probably end up doing over here, just because the Nintendo eShop probably requires a little bit more information on here, I might do a jump cut. So I'll let you know here in just a second. Jump cut, Stuart Ashen style, just not as graceful, but I had to change the region in my system to US, because when I was doing initialization, I was clicking just the next closest thing, so I clicked Aruba. But anyways, once you get into the Nintendo eShop, you want to go ahead and scroll all the way over to the left, and you want to hit this settings and other option right here. You can also do that by if you have the updated software on the 3DS or 2DS itself, you can hit the menu button up here and it will pull up with the exact same options. But for the sake of this, since this one comes with all of the settings, we'll pull up this one here for you. And then we're going to scroll all the way down until you see an option that says re-downloadable software. Click, click, click. There we go. And as long as the system itself has never had a 3DS system transfer tool initialized on it, you can actually go back and re-download the game. And then, of course, depending on your internet connection on that, it might take a little while on there. So, and it will tell you on there, previously purchased items can be re-downloaded at no extra cost. And we're going to go ahead and download later. And continue. And we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and go to the home menu on here just to show you that the little gift box has shown up on there for Ocarina of Time 3D. And then I'm going to go ahead and put that to sleep. And the game will just download in the background for me while it's in sleep mode. And that is a way for you to get a game, if you have a pre-owned 2DS or 3DS that previously came with the game, to get it back on the hardware, given that the system transfer tool was never used. Now, this also works with your current 2DS or 3DS that you're using, in case that if you decide to reformat and everything like that. This also works, obviously, just by re-downloading everything, just going back to that same option and re-downloading it on there as well. But unfortunately, this will not work if you own your previous device as well, just because how it really works is that Nintendo registers the digital game itself to the serial number of the hardware that's on here. And when the system transfer tool happens, you're actually taking that license of that game and transferring it to the other serial number of the other game, of the other console. So I've done this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Well, actually, no, this one doesn't have it. So 5 times. And I have re-downloaded Red and Blue on this one. So I will not be making any system transfers anymore. It's a very long process, and I chose to do the very long version of the system transfer because I didn't want to go ahead and re-download stuff over from the Nintendo eShop, so I just dragged everything over. It's a lot of Pikmin moving data over from one SD card to the other, so it's a little time consuming to do the system transfer. But if you're looking to just download the game itself, definitely give that a try. If you have purchased a pre-owned Nintendo 2DS or 3DS XL, it might be a little bit easier to do with the 2DSs, just because at the time, unless somebody is upgrading to the 2DS XL or the 3DS XL, and the 2DS XL and 3DS XLs, or I'm sorry, the new 2DS XLs and new 3DS XLs. There were hardly any versions that came with games. I know this one, for an example, was one of the very few of the new 2DS XLs that came with a game, and it was A Link Between Worlds. And it was the same with this one. But a lot of the new 3DS XLs, like the two in the background, this did not come with Majora's Mask 3D, as the picture, as you can see from the image of the actual device itself, is all the new 3DS XL, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask version. Unlike its Ocarina of Time counterpart that came out years before, that one did not come with it. So a lot of the new 3DS XLs won't, most likely, from what I remember, don't really have games pre-installed in them. If anything, there might have been a code. And this also depends on your region as well, depending on if you're buying it from Europe, from Asia, depending on where you're getting your 3DS, because of course Nintendo might have different ways of providing the codes over there in your country. But if you're looking for a pre-owned 2DS or a pre-owned 3DS, and there might be a possibility that the transfer has never been made, so you might be getting an extra game with your console as well when you make that purchase, which is really nice. But I went ahead and did another jump cut on here, so that way we can have the game downloading in the background, but I wanted to go ahead and put this off of sleep mode, and as you can see, new software has been added to the home menu. And click OK, click that open, and please wait to see. There we have it, Ocarina of Time 3D. And go ahead and boot that up, just to show you here the menu again, just like before. And there we go. Perfect. Thank you so much for watching, folks. I really enjoyed making this video. It's been quite some time since I made a video very similar to this, like the Magnesis mod I did for the Nintendo Switch, or any other hardwares like the Joy-Con things or anything like that, or for my Game Boy collection or anything. I really like doing little things like this for the Game Boy as well, just because I'm a huge Game Boy fan. I absolutely love the Game Boy Advance, and as you can see from here, I'm a huge fan of the 3DS. They have some amazing games. I had some great memories with them. And I love that there is a community out there that shares that love, that passion for these systems as well. So with that being said, if you guys get a chance to check out a 2DS or 3DS pre-owned on there that had a game pre-installed of it, don't be scared to check this out. I mean, it doesn't hurt to see if you'll get an extra game on there as well. So definitely give that on there as well. If you guys get a chance, I'll put a link in the description below, once again, to Elliot's channel to check out the Retro Future. Like I said, this video inspired me to do that. He's got some great stuff on some Game Boy stuff. He's got some great mods on everything like that. So if you are interested in all that kind of stuff, please go check out his channel. Really amazing things on there. With that said, thank you so much for watching again, guys. Take care, be safe, and smash on.